to adopt this proclamation.
Second.
Thank you, and seconded. Would you like to make a presentation? And as you're walking up there, Supervisor Delbar, just call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Oh, no.
No. Come on, you guys.
What's that?
Hunter Valley.
What about it? 44% of our population. Amazing.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you very much, folks, for all that you do for our citizens.
Does it, Anderson Valley Ambulance Service provide services in Water Valley?
You might want to, I don't know if this thing's been printed. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's been
a little problem there.
That one.
We'll point that out to Carmel. Okay.
Yeah.
Oops. I'll point it out. I'll point it
that
out.
out. Yeah.
That isn't right, is it?
No. Okay, item 9A, which is a timed item for 11:30. We're a couple minutes ahead of that. So trying to follow the procedures. How about we could do Department of Transportation Director's Report? Do you have additional comments on that, Supervisor?
No, I made.
Okay. Can we show acceptance of the DOT report? And so done. And how about appointments? Use up some little bit of time here to make some appointments. I believe there's 4 or 5 different areas. First item, Mental Health Board, item D. Do we have any action on that?
Mr. Chairman, I would move the appointment of David Acca, public interest member.
Okay.
Second.
And seconded. Any discussion on the appointment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Mr. Acca is accepted unanimously. Item O, Fish and Game Commission. Any action on that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make 2 recommendations. The coastal fish and game position, John Innes.
Okay.
Second.
There's a second there. Supervisor?
I have a preference of the Randall Van just for the simple reason. It's my intent that our Fish and Game Commission is maybe a little bit overloaded on the fish side and not enough on the game side, and I thought that Mr. Van would be more a kind of a balancing act to that. I'm not saying that Mr. Innes, is the name, is not a bad appointee, but it was just my intention to bring a little more emphasis on the problems with our game side.
Well, on that note, Mr. Chair, Mr. Innes is a coastal resident. I think it says here he's in the 5th District, but he represents coastal fishing issues, but he's also an avid fisherman and hunter, as his application states, and I believe this one is slotted as a coastal member at large. I believe there's also an inland member at large, as well as the 5 supervisorial recommendations for the 5 specific districts. So I think that Mr. Innes has a long track record of volunteerism, and he's very well-spoken and diligent about the issue. So I think that he could definitely represent both hunting and fishing interests, and as delineated in it being the Fish and Game Commission. So I think that he's well-versed in both of those issues, and I think he would make a good appointment.
Okay, seems to be some discussion on this one.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to, it's probably, I'm going to respect the coastal supervisors for that.
Okay.
I really feel that we haven't done a good job in the past of balancing that it's not just a fish commission, it's a fish and game commission. And I'm not saying this is a point to change it, but it's something that I think as a board on our appointees, we ought to do a little better job to try it. Because frankly, with the fishing industry basically off limits in this county, we still do have, it's a major income to Mendocino County in tourism and the ability of landowners to lease their hunting rights. Deer is a large economic impact in this county, and I feel that over the years we've just kind of ignored that, and all the effort's been on the fish, and frankly, what have the efforts led to? Totally prohibition of the fishing industry. So it's just something that I'd like to see this board in the future pay a little more attention to try to keep it balanced and make it a fish and game commission. But I'm not going to, I'll support.
Supervisor, may I go to
Sure,
Supervisor
yes.
Delmer? Supervisor Delmer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to let Supervisor Pinchas know that I concur with his sentiment. And
Okay. Supervisor Smith.
Well, I think that those are the points well made, and since Supervisor Pinchas has been on the board, I think that he has brought that issue forward, and I think it was reflected in some of the comments and the applications that we had in our last round of funds that we worked on, and recommendations that came from the Fish and Game Commission. But I'm sure that Mr. Ennis would be open to discussions along those lines, and I think that there's more that the commission absolutely could do to address game issues, and maybe with our comments that they will do that. Thank you.
Just as a question to the clerk, with these two appointments, does that fill up our Fish and Game Commission?
If you were to make that one and the 4th district, there'd be a 5th district remaining that needs to be filled. There's a residency requirement for the 5th district, though.
Oh, so it would be an additional position in the 5th district available?
We have 3 slots and 2 recommendations to fill those, 2 of those 3 today.
So we couldn't move, could we switch Mr. Innes to 5th district and put Mr. Van in?
He doesn't meet the eligibility requirements for the 5th district.
I thought he did.
Mr. Ennis?
Didn't?
why not?
That was a different legal opinion that you're speaking of.
Okay.
He said that was a different legal opinion. It was an at-large.